Hello, good morning. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'll try to make some reasonings about Trump's election in the United States and other places where the right wing wins. Why does that happen? It is possible to see that many poor people, even knowing that the right wing is for the rich, even then they still vote for the right wing. This is an interesting thing to notice. Even poor people, many times they vote for the right wing, right? Perhaps to understand this, we have to go back in history to the onset of civilization. From the beginning of more complex societies, societies organized in greater numbers, from the beginning of this, these institutions, the state, the way that the country is ruled, from the beginning of this, why do we need these governments? Why do we need these institutions? From Egypt in the past to the United States now. Well, these institutions, the government, they're there to provide security and order against internal problems and against external enemies. So this is the reason of the state, to provide order, to provide security, so that people can work unworried if they'll be stolen or if someone from another country will enter and govern this country. So the state is a provider of order. This is the reason of the state from its beginning. In this sense, perhaps we can understand why people vote for the right wing. Because what are they supposed to do, these people we elect for? They're supposed, if we go back in history, they're supposed to provide order, to ensure that everything will go according to some laws, to some principles, both an internal security and provide also a security against external enemies. So this is the reason of the state from the beginnings of human history. So Trump in the United States is more or less like that. He's providing order in internal affairs, and he's providing security against external enemies. So Trump, he is elected perhaps because he embodies the reason of the state. Why do we need these people there? Because we need someone strong who is able to cope against people who want disorders, people who want to steal, people who want God knows what. So the ruler, he has to be the strong person to provide order internally and to defend society against external enemies. So thinking this way, it is possible to see why Trump won, because he is more explicitly in these values. The speech of Trump is straightforward in these values, whereas the left wing sometimes starts speaking of social justice, speaking a lot of things, sometimes a sophisticated intellectual speech that doesn't reach the people at all. And they seem to forget the basic need we have for the state. The state, from the onset of human civilization, the state is not there to provide us social justice. It is not. This is not the reason of the state. The reason of the state is to provide order. So in this sense, Trump makes more sense than the left wing because he is the provider of order. You see? So there's a lot to talk about Trump and the right-wing movements around the world. There's a lot to talk about, but perhaps going back in history and examining why do we need these institutions, why do we need these people in power, trying to understand this, we understand the subconscious of the population and what leads them to elect people like Trump in the United States, and here in my country, Bolsonaro was elected for the exact same reasons, right? There's a lot of left-wing movement in Brazil, a lot of people bringing forth the social justice thing. We need to have social justice. Many people bring this forth. However, many times, who wins the election? The right wing, who is not concerned about social justice at all. You see, even the poor people, they know Bolsonaro is not concerned about their social justice. No. But even then, they vote for Bolsonaro. Why? Because he is there, he's supposed to be there to defend the citizen against criminals and perhaps against an external foe. In the case of Brazil, we don't have external enemies. In the case of the United States, there are many foes of the United States. So that could be one of the reasons the right wing wins, because in the subconscious, people carry this idea that the state is the provider of order. Thank you so much.